Hello, welcome back to BlenderSushi Live Noding. In this video, I'm going to explore Sverchok way to work with a text or string. Um, I think I haven't actually talked much about Sverchok and text, and the other day, one of the Sverchok developers showed me that we can actually use this node called Typography Viewer. I never know that Sverchok has this node, and I was quite shocked, and it's actually quite nice to have this. um, and I tried it earlier today, and I could create something like this inside Spreadshot. So it's a different way of thinking. The other day, of course, I show you how you can create text and text objects in Blender, and then you use array modifier, and then you use instancer in animation nodes, and you can generate something that looks a little bit like this. I didn't actually go through discussing text inside animation nodes, but potentially you can basically make instances of text objects and then generating input of string text data, and then generate like a city made of just text objects. And I kind of want to explore that idea, but inside Spreadshot. This is one way I could think of doing it. So if we have the text input like this, like a fruit's name, apple, apple, banana, banana, etc., and then using Spreadshot list operators. Spreadshot has a lot of list operators, by the way. I mentioned this a couple of times, and you can output it using this final node, Typography Viewer. It has a lot of options. It's actually pretty much like Blender text objects, but what's cool is that you can provide like other data. Like in this case, I'm using multiple metrics to generate this kind of look. So just in case I didn't, just in case if I missed to mention about this, you can take a snapshot and try this yourself to make something like this. Anyhow, I'm gonna start fresh. Gonna quit Safari just to make it a little bit faster. Yeah, so I start with this. We can hide everything, delete the box, switch to Sverchok, compositing layout, file, save as. This is Sverchok, typography. So, okay, let's, where should we start? Let's switch to Spreadshot. I think I can create a text editor here, just in case. Maybe I need it. Because the way Spreadshot works with text, probably not as obvious as working with text or string in animation nodes. However, Spreadshot has a nice CSV import and export node. CSV is a comma separated value, so if you have like a data table from Excel, you can bring it into Spreadshot quite easily and then output it as another comma separated value. That's the first thing that I learned when I was exploring Spreadshot a few years ago. So there is a node. There's not. So you can bring in text using the text in. But as you can see, this is to bring in the text either in a format of CSV or like a Spreadshot kind of format, which is a bunch of lists, or JSON. This is actually quite nice. 3 different formats you can use. Let's say I think for Spreadshot I can do it like this. So Spreadshot love list. So if you have list of data, whether it's a number or string, Spreadshot can usually load it. So I load the data, and then if I view the data, using the stethoscope. We can have a look. Okay, so that's the list. Yeah, that should be quite clear. We can also maybe have it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a list of lists. Let me zoom out. Oh, zoom in. No, I cannot zoom in. If I reload the data, see, this is what I get. Maybe I could actually have a two list. 7, 8, 7, 8, 9, and reload. So it doesn't seem to like this data. Maybe I did something wrong. So let's have a look. Reload. Oh, it's reloading the data like that. I wonder if I could create like a multiple output. Let's see. 7, 8, 9. Reload the data, so it's looking like that. Maybe I can split the list using a list splitter. If the list split, okay, list split might work. Split size 3. So I think it splits the data into 3. Yeah, well, this is probably not the right way to display the typography viewer node, but I can plug it into this guy, and seems like it's not happy with the text data. Okay, now it's working. We have an output here, 1, 2, 3. Seems like it's only displaying the first data, but we can use a list item, I believe. List item, and we can select the output. So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is three lists of data inside a list, and that's basically how a kind of Spreadshot kind of works under the hood. An easier way to do this is, let's say if we are using the nodes node. So your text here, and I plug this into the typography viewer, and again the funny thing is I think Sverchok is separating this text into multiple texts. Or is it because of the list? If I list the list level and delete it on level 1 or 2 or 3, this is when just it's not too clear, but you kind of get used to it after using Spreadshot for a while. So that's the output of this guy, but let's have a look. What's the output of this guy? Your text here. So it's kind of correct. So if we use the list item now, we can perhaps use level 1, 0, 1, known. Maybe I go over the number of list. So that's giving me T. So it says text. Your text here. Your text here. So there you go. Apparently this is the right way to do it. List levels, list delete levels 1. And that's giving me your. So that's kind of a way of Spreadshot unpacking data. So you can have like a, this is how you can kind of imagine Spreadshot. It's kind of like the Matryoshka doll, and this is where the data might be residing, and you kind of want to unpack this in the right way. And sometimes you need to do this list delete levels and all sort of fancy Spreadshot stuff. So back to this node, we can show text, and there's output and input sockets, all the fancy stuff that you can check yourself. But basically I'm interested with this guy. So if I write in apple, banana, pineapple, oh, pineapple, apple, banana, pineapple. Okay, we can then have something like this. Very nice, very simple. So now we have 2 ways to load the data. This is text in and nodes. There's another one. If we use another text in, I'm not familiar with JSON, but JSON text format that you can load into Sverchok, it's also really useful. That's a way you can kind of bring in a data that already have structure into Spreadshot. But CSV is easier. CSV is easier to understand. Let's say I create another text file, and this is a CSV sample, and I will create like things: apple, banana, and kiwi, for example. And then I want to have 10 apple, 5. This is Monday, 10, 5, 2, and then just gonna input a random number. So this is what usually you will see this as a CSV, comma separated value data, and this is the header of the data, and this is the data you can bring into Spreadshot. So let's do that. CSV examples, CSV header field on, and dialect is Excel. Let's load it. So you can see it loads the header, apple, banana, kiwi. And if we check this using the text, apparently because we have list, so this doesn't work right away. So obviously it's outputting the data correctly, but the typography viewer is expecting just a single string of data. It's not expecting list. So no, it doesn't do factorization unless you kind of tweak the data. So that's the banana, that's the kiwi, apple. You can see 10, 2, 4. So 10, 2, 4. So that's how the data brought into Spreadshot. I think if you list delete level, you can maybe use it here. List item, probably that's what we need. So there you go. Item 0 is 10, item 1 is 2, and item 2 is 4. So that's a typography viewer must be expecting only like a single data, unless you do like a kind of like a matrix operations maybe. Let me check. Let me think how we can do this. Let's go back to this list of fruits. So we have apple, banana, pineapple, but we only look at apple. That's okay. So apple, pineapple, banana, and pineapple. Let's do the apple. Let's check the options we have. So apparently we have, okay, this is F size. It's actually a font size. We can group the output of text if we have like a random matrix. Let me save this first. So if we let's check if we provide like a random matrix input, matrix in, location maybe random vector. So looks like it doesn't do the factorizations automatically. So if we give like a count of 10 random vectors value plug into the matrix, and we are only seeing one apple, we need to kind of use a list repeater. So that's another new thing we learned. So there's an option like unwrap and level. Sometimes it's not too obvious what this thing does. Level 0 is probably what we want. With the count, we can use the input, integer input, let's say 5. I plug this into the number and the seed. Now, it's not doing it correctly. I probably need to use level 1. Most of the time this is like level 1. It really depends. Let's say 100 random value. Oh, I know why. This number is for the count. Okay, that's the right way to do it. This is the input, integer input. It goes into the list repeater number and random vector count. Now we have this setup, something similar that you can do using animation nodes, but in Spreadshot this is more simpler. I mean, it's not using any kind of loop. Let me turn on the ambient occlusion, so that's a bit nicer. Okay, we can see a bunch of apple. We can randomize the seed. We can still change the size of the text. Oh yeah, that's really nice. I didn't know that Sverchok can do this. Obviously, you can also use this input apple, banana, pineapple, like the separating each of the word and then bring it into this guy. So it might need some kind of string processing in Spreadshot. I'm still not familiar with, but I'm exploring now. So let's have a look. Back to apple. Let's make it just 10. Obviously, with a matrix in, we can give at the moment we are giving random locations. You can give a random scale. You can also give random rotations with provided angle. Sometimes this rotation and angle, because it's slightly different from animation nodes. I don't know how to explain it, but you can just plug in random rotation, random vector into the rotation, and then give some angle. So it's a pretty much a random rotations. But the scale you can add on top of this font, like the default font. Obviously, you cannot here. You cannot randomize the font. You cannot plug in anything into this guy. Maybe to keep it simple, they're not allowing that. But you can do extrusion, and you can do offset, which is kind of nice. You can quickly make like a heavy metal kind of typography this way. There is a bevel depth, super handy, and bevel resolution. There is a material you can apply, and what else? This is basically all that I've talked about that we are during the live noding. What you can do using animation nodes, you can also do using Sverchok. Sometimes Sverchok allows you to do more with a mesh, and animation nodes can do more like object kind of level transformation animation. But they both are quite interesting. Let me check something. Maybe I can change the font. There's no font option here. Okay, Blender font. Okay, I can perhaps add my own font. Where's my fonts? This is the one I downloaded from Google. Sverchok, or maybe I use Titan one. There you go. That's quite nice. Offset 0, bevel 0. So we just have that kind of fat looking font. You can add a bevel, not too much. It's maybe my font is too small. 0.5. Okay, that's slightly nicer. You can of course give a random color into the material of this guy if you like to, but that's you can try yourself. Scale seed. Okay, that's a seed. Let me check something here. So we have list delete level, we have list items, we have list repeater, which is repeating the data of this text, which is apple. We can switch to different item. So apple, banana, pineapple here. I'm just wondering if we can actually randomize the item here. Just so if I have a random and maybe 10 here and remap the random, and just round it. Round, okay. Plug this there. Pineapple, banana, okay. Maybe the level is not correct. Currently it's like outputting all this like a list of data. Unwrap giving me pineapple and banana. Let me check. What if we increase the number? Doesn't do anything. Count. Maybe this count should be there as well. So seems like this is the right way to do it. So we have apple, pineapple, and banana all on top of each other with a this random vector actually has a quite small value. We can map range of this guy. Maybe give it random value between 1 and 10. Okay, it doesn't work because its map range is only for a floating value. You can see I'm plugging a vector value into this guy, so it's not gonna work like this. I'm just gonna use a vector math and plug this in. Multiply scalar, plug this into the location. Now I use floating number and scale this. I've done this a couple of times already. So that's banana, apple, pineapple. We can add more, kiwi, and now we have kiwi as well. So list item, randomizing the data input, new min and new max, 0 to 3. Nicer idea is to use stethoscope. Okay, so we have random value between 0 and 3. 0. Okay, so if we have more like orange, we will not be able to see orange until I change the new max into 4. So there we have orange. So that's nice actually. Let's add random rotations anyway. Just for example, random vector scale. Let's plug in the random vector into the rotations, and for the float, for the angle, let's see. If I'm giving it like 90 degree, so all of them is kind of rotating 90 degree, but each one of them has a different rotation axis, I guess. So the text is rotating from the front. Maybe we can change that. Align center. There you go, that's much better. You can certainly animate this, or yeah, export it as Alembic if you want. I believe if let's doing it for 100. I have not tested this, but kind of interested to see what happened. So there's a bunch of text object generated using just Sverchok, and I'm gonna animate this guy. So I'm gonna rotate using frame, current frame value, plug into the rotations. Now it should be rotating like that. Now let me just export everything. File, export Alembic, and let's have a look at this option. Export Alembic scale. Don't worry. Start end frame. Start maybe 50 frames is enough. Selected objects only off. Vertex color. Okay, don't worry about all that. Save it on the desktop. Sverchok Typography 004. Export Alembic. Now it's doing a baking. Oh, actually, Blender crashes. So that's unfortunately that happens time to time. I don't know. Maybe something about what Spreadshot does that is maybe the data is changing in the background. Maybe the data of each text got recreated each frame, so the Alembic doesn't like it. So unfortunately we cannot export the Alembic. I guess we can think about the Alembic again later. I'm gonna do one more thing with remember the tower thing that I made using text and array objects. I wanna do that again, but using Sverchok. We can totally simplify this. In fact, I will probably delete everything and let's save as new file and create a new note. And here we just need a simple text. For now, I'm just gonna be using a single word or use a character. If you're using like a font, like Japanese font, Chinese font, or Korean font, yeah. If you want to use their kind of a font or character, it will look nicer. But I'm just gonna use a normal text. Your text here, okay. Your text here. Show text and just type in something that's more interesting. Blender. Plug in the text, then we have Blender. Okay. What we're gonna do next is do the repeat and the matrix thing. Matrix in, and let's do the line. This is I always do this myself. It's kind of really fast to do. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Level 2. Let's have an input. So there you go. That's a Blender text got created. Of course, the line giving a vector that goes in that direction. Again, we need to change the vector. X plug into the Z, and then we have text that's growing up. There you go. That's our kind of array of building. Let's see, we can extrude. We can use the bevel thingy. Bevel in and bevel out, maybe bevel in. Give a different kind of look. Yeah, something like that. It's a different type of building, perhaps. Maybe have like a 50 floor of buildings, like that. We can have control over the font size. The extrusion, and the stepping. So we don't want to see the gap. So that's kind of like a more or less like a building where you can randomize each and every font. This is actually, each one of them is a font object. It's a text objects in Blender, and they can have a different color, and They can have a different size. Let me try with the scaling here. I have not tried this. Range float vector in, plug this in, plug that, maybe. Okay, that's quite interesting. So what's happening here is because this range float will output like the number, like a range of numbers. If we check it using stethoscope, so we can see the number goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it stops. And the rest of them actually have a size of 9, I believe. So 9, 9, 9, 9 going up. What we really want is probably the same count as this guy. So 50 objects plug into the count. 50. So from 1 to 10, and it's growing. You can also do the opposite, maybe from 10 to 1, and we have something like this. We have too many objects, maybe make it 10. Maybe 10 to 1 is too big. Maybe 1 to 0.1. Now we can see like some kind of pyramid style of text, which is really cool. And we can adjust the character, and we have a pyramid. But you probably don't want to do that. Let's do like a slightly less gap between the size. Well, I wonder if you can also do a random number. Random number. Oh, number. Random number. This node, okay? This node, how many count? That, like that. Random. So this is gonna be a different scale random for each object. We're gonna map the range. So random should be between 0 and 1, and for this guy we can say between 1 and 2. Plug this into this guy. Now we have this kind of design. I kind of like it. We can randomize the seed. Maybe not between 1 and 2. Maybe a little bit more like that. It's kind of nice looking stack of font. If there is like a hotel designer or building designer, they can design architects that looks like this, architecture building that looks like this, and it says Blender, which is really awesome. You can type in anything and it will update it for you. Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, there you go. I guess this is pretty much what I want to show you in this video. Leave a comment if you have question, or leave like or anything. Let me know your feedback and suggestion. Thanks again for tuning in to the BlenderSushi channel. I'll see you in the next video.